Good morning, class. Today we are going to be talking about adding fractions with unlike denominators, and that matches TEK 5.3H. So let's start off with reading our word problem. Chrissy drank 2/8 of her Dr. Pepper. She then drank 3/4 of a cherry Coke. How much soda did Chrissy drink today? We know that when we do have a word problem, that we need to underline or highlight the important information. So let's go ahead and do that. So, Chrissy drank 2/8. That's pretty important because we're working with fractions of her Dr. Pepper. She then drank 3/4. There's our another fraction right there of a cherry Coke. How much soda did Chrissy drink today? Well, what kind of problem are we doing today? Addition, correct. And how did you know that? How much? Awesome job. So, we're going to go ahead to make this a little bit easier. We're going to take these words, so the 2/8 and the 3/4, and we're going to put them into numbers. So, we have 2/8. So, our whole is 8 pieces, or 8 parts, but there's only 2 parts because she drank 2/8 of her Dr. Pepper. So she drank 2 parts of that 8, which is our whole, plus the 3/4 of the cherry Coke she drank. She had a lot of caffeine today. So the first thing that we should do is simplify or reduce our fractions. So we know that 2 can go into 8. But the question is, how many times can 2 go into 8? So 2 divided by 2 is, great job, it is 1. And 8 divided by 2 is, awesome job, it is 4. So we have 2/8 simplified or reduced is 1/4. Plus, let's look at 3/4. Can 3 go into 4? No. So let's go ahead and just bring that 3/4 down right here. We are going to solve this addition problem using our linear model. So let's go ahead and draw that out. There's one line. There's the second one for our second fraction. And here's our third model for when we add it all together. Let's go ahead and section that into 4 parts because our whole is 4 equal parts. So we're going to go right here and we're going to say this is 1 of the 4 parts, so 1/4. 2 of the 4 parts, which is 2/4. 3 of the 4 parts, which is 3/4. And 4 of the 4 parts, which we know that when the numerator and the denominator are the same, it equals 1 whole. So in parentheses, I'm going to go ahead and put that 4/4. I'm going to go ahead and write 1 since we really want to focus on that whole. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for this number line. 1/4 to be 1 part, 2/4, which would be 2 parts, 3/4, which would be 3 parts, and then right here we're going to write our 1 whole because 4/4 equals to 1, and I'll go ahead and put that 4/4 over to the side just so we know. And I'm going to go ahead and write our same 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 on this line. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that. And then our 1 whole, which is 4/4. Okay, so let's look at our first fraction right here. So she drank 2/8, so we simplified to 1/4, so she had 1/4 of Dr. Pepper. I'm going to go ahead and shade that in right here, the 1/4. And then she had the 3/4 of her cherry Coke. I'm going to use a different color to show that on this model right here. 3/4, so we have 1/4 and then the 3/4. And since they do have like denominators, we can go ahead and count how many parts we have or how much she drank. So she had 1/4, so we have the 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and shade that in down here. The 1/4 because she drank the Dr. Pepper, the 1/4 of Dr. Pepper. And then the 3/4, so 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 for drinking that cherry Coke. And if you notice, we have completely filled up this line model, this linear model right here. So it is at the 1. So 4/4, which is the whole, which equals 1 whole. And if we go back to our problem right here, and we solve it, we know that 1 plus 3 is 4. Make sure we put that line because it's important in a fraction. And we know that when we are adding, we do not add our whole parts, or our denominators, which are our whole parts. So we would just carry that 4 over. Now let's look at this. Do you think we could simplify or reduce this fraction, 4/4? Correct, we can. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So our answer is 1. Awesome job. Let's go ahead and let's use another model to help us figure out this equation. I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite our reduced fraction, so let's go ahead and go over that together. We know that 2/8 can be reduced because 2 can go into 8, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, so 1/4. We know that 3/4 cannot be reduced. Let's go ahead and make that, just bring that 3/4 down, and we're going to use the area model. So we're working with fourths. I'm going to go ahead and draw one area model out, and the second one out. Let's go ahead and divide that into fourths. So she had 1/4 of that Dr. Pepper. So let's go ahead and shade one of those in right here. And then she had 3/4 of that cherry Coke. She must have really loved that cherry Coke. 1, 2, and 3/4. Let's go ahead and count up our shaded parts to get our numerator. So we have, let's count with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our numerator would be 4. I'm going to write this right here. And let's count our unshaded parts to get our denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4. We ended up with 4/4, and we know that 4 can divide by 4, so that would give us 1. So 1 whole, and we can go ahead and show that for those visual learners. And just shade this in so that they know it was 1 whole soda. So we can say that Christy drank a whole soda even though she drank 2 different sodas using our linear and area model. Thank you.